the important point is they have already planned that it's going to be accepted in 1 year. They need 18 months. So in 1 year and a half, May 2024, it is completely adopted as an obligation, and they take over the world, and they take over the constitutions of every country with WHO constitution. Okay, so you can see here, okay, this is the paper, and you see that Chile, I don't know, Chile is here. Chile is here, and that's all the Latin American countries have accepted this world, the world together to establish this convention. So Latin America is important. So now I'm going to the people who want to look at what is happening. They have to understand that this Este Documento, it's in Spanish on WHO website. You just put International Health Regulation. In this paper and in your national constitution, you have an emergency law that binds you with WHO, and that's why we still have the emergency law in Spain, in Chile, in Ecuador, in Argentina, in all the Latin American countries, Mexico, Paraguay, Uruguay, Trinidad, Tobago, Mexico, you know, so you have to understand that this document and your constitution or your law on epidemic is binding you with the United Nations and with WHO. I think it's called El Reglamentario Sanitario Internacional or something. So that's the first link. The second link is that the WHO Constitution in 1948 has been signed by all member states. It is like your constitution for your country. It is the only agency in the United Nations who has a constitution just by chance, like if they had premeditated this, because they're going to use it for global governance. So in this document, you have 2 articles that are very important for them to take over the world, eternal pandemic. It's Article 2. It is the function of WHO to manage and coordinate the world and help everybody. Okay, so Article 21 is very important. They have 5 points. They say that the World Health Assembly, which means every country around the table in May every year, has the authority to adopt regulations like this international health regulation was adopted with Article 21. This means that the member states can decide to adopt a regulation. That's how they adopted this in 2005. And this is an obligation for all the countries. That's why we all have, we should not, but we all have, because of this Article 21. And this is going to be eternal if we don't do something, because they are taking over the world and our constitutions with this article and this international health regulation. It's a very important international legal obligation, and this is why the response will be also legal. Okay, so what is important for you to understand? There are 5 points where they can take a decision which is very dangerous for us. 5 points. Okay, the first is sanitary and quarantine requirements, like the mask, distanciation, hydrogel, we don't know, made in China, close the shops, close the religion, you know, that's the sanitary measures because of the bad virus. And you see that that's number 1, and it's always related to international spread of disease. And the number 2 is the definition, nomenclatura, of disease, cause of disease, and public health practice. They can decide and adopt whatever they want. That means they can decide what disease, they can decide to say every cause of death is COVID, and they can decide to say that we don't make autopsy, like they did. They already did that. The number 3, they can have authority to implement standards of diagnostic procedures for international use. That's PCR test. They have done this since the 2 years. And we know it is wrong. We know it is a fraud. So they have authority to decide the standard of diagnostic procedures international. The founder says that. WHO also says we need a doctor. And there is no doctor anymore. So that's also something we have lived. Now, number 4 is also, you see that it is going towards changing definition and implementing standards and this is very important. So number 4 is standards of safety, purity, potency of biological, pharmaceutical, and similar products, which means they can decide upon the importance of products moving in the world and their safety. It means that they can decide the standard like the FDA. They can decide what is right or wrong with products security. And the last one, 5, it's really the worst. They can decide of advertising and labeling, so it's marketing and labeling of the products for commercial use, the products, biological, pharmaceutical, and any products related to the pandemic. So it is becoming the big business the world business of pandemic is in Article 21. And in fact, we have lived those articles the 2 last years, if you think about it. What we just read, the 5 points, has happened to us, it was imposed on us from 2020 and 2021 already. We have lived this already. They have made the marketing, the labeling of experimental vaccine, like if it was validation. They have collaborated with conflict of interest with Pfizer, with all. Yeah, but thank you for that. You understand? They have commercialized WHO. WHO is becoming the big market under its constitution, Article 21, of all decisions, because the International Health Regulation, this Reglamento Sanitario Internacional, is there to stay. So they are using this under Article 21, and they can decide with our national representative whatever they want. And our member states don't represent us anymore. We know that. So you can download this constitution in WHO. It's in Spanish also. You can find it on the web. You will understand that the votes in WHO, the WHO has decided in this guide that it has been published, a guide to pandemic treaty was distributed to WHO, and it was done with someone from WHO. You can see very clearly in there that the constitution of member states will have no power anymore because they are obligated to obey to the international health regulation because it is an emergency law. Okay, so the solution is to act and to make opposition with your groups, with the groups of every country, and to oppose this agreement of preparing a treaty. And I would even say to oppose that the member state represents the people, to the WHO, but also to the United Nations. Because Article 20 says that every member state, every country, has 18 months to implement the adoption of this, that if they don't agree such agreement or convention, they have to write a statement with the reason of non-acceptance to the Director General of WHO. So we have still a few months, but it is important to already start to say we oppose, as countries, as citizens of this world, any decision of our country who is not stopping this pandemic. So we have to oppose, and we have to write